Hey, what's up guys, my name is David and welcome back to the channel. With the release of the Suicide Squad and my hype for comic movies being pretty strong again, I thought it would be fun to rank my top 5 favorite DC movies. And also I have a special guest with me today, Josh from the channel After Credits.
Hey guys, I'm Josh from the channel After Credits. Thank you so much to David for having me on to do this collaboration. If you're not familiar with my channel, I basically do similar things to David. I do lots of movie reviews, rankings, reactions, everything like that. And I love talking about superhero and comic book movies, so I'm so glad to be counting down my top 5 DC films.
So without wasting any time, let's get into our honorable mentions.
Before we get started though, I'm going to give some honorable mentions to Man of Steel, just a great reinvention of the character, the Lego Batman movie, yes, you heard me correctly, the Lego Batman movie, and Wonder Woman.
My honorable mentions are Birds of Prey, the Lego Batman movie, and Man of Steel.
Coming in at number 5 for me, my 5th place is Joker from 2019. Joker is pretty much a different take on the character and comic book movies. Joaquin Phoenix just brings such a great performance, an Oscar-winning performance to this character. Like, he creates these really funny scenes, these really tense scenes, and these really heartbreaking, depressing scenes when you see his descent into villainy. And I think he's portrayed the character really well. It's a film that, given the talent and the concept of a Joker solo movie, I didn't expect to be as good as it is, but it did really well at the Oscars, and it was a real crowd pleaser, I think. Well, it does polarize quite a few people, but majority of people love it. This film has a really great ending where it makes you kind of reevaluate everything you just saw, and I really appreciate that. And also the music for this film is really great. Most notably the violin music that plays when he's in the bathroom. I think that's really great.
Kicking off my list at number 5 is the Suicide Squad. I know, I want this to be higher, but this is where it's gonna have to be. Like I said in my video about this film, this is a benchmark and celebration of this wonderful comic book genre. James Gunn is a master at making amazing comic book movies with quirky and morally gray characters. However, this movie seemed bigger than a movie like Guardians or really any comic movie that we've got, except for maybe like Endgame or something like that. This seemed like a celebration of this genre. So many different styles, tones, editing styles, and narrative choices, and once again, just even down to the characters and how they handle these morally gray characters, the humor, the R rating. So much went in to making this movie, and it's been decades in the making when you really look at it. I know it's a meme and it's easy to hate on comic book movies, but the history and the hell that this genre has gone through from time to time is really interesting, and this project just felt like a grand celebration of everything this genre has gone through. But not in a way that felt tongue-in-cheek or on the nose, it just naturally meshed together and made this grand personal project known as James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. I wish I could put this one higher, but I think Josh is gonna have that covered. But yeah, for me, it's gonna have to come in at number 5. This is still an excellent movie.
Coming in at number 4 is Harley Quinn, or Birds of Prey, and the multiple, ever-changing, not that recognizable, really long, hard-to-market title. I still really like this film. I may even go as far to say it's the, or at least one of the most underrated DC films. I just think it doesn't get enough credit for how good it is. And also how groundbreaking it was for the DCEU at the time. Like, I think all the praise that the Suicide Squad is getting, and it deserved it, but Birds of Prey also deserves it. Kathy Yan brings this new flavor to the DCEU where it takes like the action and stunts from John Wick because it's the same stunt coordinators. It takes the sort of non-linear storytelling of Guy Ritchie and Quentin Tarantino. It takes the best part of Suicide Squad 2016, and Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn, and it puts it all together in this film that surprisingly works. Oh, and also the humor from Deadpool. It just all comes together in this film and it really works. I also love the cinematography as well. I think they use color really well for some nice scenes and some nice shots. And it's a nice evolution of the character of Harley Quinn, you know, bringing her into the lead and showing her evolution from Suicide Squad and then going into the Suicide Squad. I think they've done that really well. And also, Ewan McGregor as Black Mask is a really great villain.
Coming in at number 4 for me is Zack Snyder's Justice League. Just to get out of the way what I don't like about this movie, the villain is still kind of dull, no longer trash, just dull, and the plot is meh. But besides that, oh my god, what a movie. This movie is really special to me and this genre as a whole for many reasons. First of all, the fact that this movie even exists is fantastic. The fact that this is a director's vision. This is more than a director's cut or anything that we've seen in the past. This is a 4-hour cut of a movie that is meticulously crafted. And the movement behind this movie was so strong, and while yes, there were some horrible and toxic people supporting this movement, but that besides, the fact that, you know, the studio listened to the fans and gave us this epic project, and Zack Snyder could see his vision realized after so much suffering and tragedy went on in his life, both personal and professional. There's just so much to love about this movie while not even looking at the actual movie. When I first watched this movie, I'm not gonna lie, I was actually a little bit underwhelmed, but just in the sense of when I heard people talk about this movie before I watched it, I was expecting another Endgame situation. Non-stop, breathtaking, unbelievable moments, and while that happened, it didn't happen in the way I expected. I thought Joker was gonna team up with Batman, and then Batman was gonna die, but then Superman's gonna bring Batman back to life. I was just going full fan fiction. But the way that this film is magnificent is not in the same way movies like Endgame are magnificent. Those are exciting celebration type movies. This was almost Lord of the Ring-esque, very slow in its pacing, but it just builds and builds and builds, and everything is earned.
Coming in at number 3 is The Dark Knight. What is there to say about The Dark Knight that hasn't already been said? Maybe that I actually thought it was overrated for a while. And now I absolutely love it. Christopher Nolan ups the scope from Batman Begins and just creates this really cool comic book superhero film, a great action film. It's great on every sense. It's thrilling, it's entertaining, it's heartbreaking, it's pretty much got everything. Christian Bale, I think, is definitely my favorite Bruce Wayne. Not sure if he's my favorite Batman, but he's definitely my favorite Bruce Wayne, and I love him in the role. Heath Ledger gives... I don't know if I've actually seen him in any other films, so I would say this is his best performance as the Joker. An amazing performance, the one in the Oscar. It's funny that 2 Joker actors have won Oscars for their performance as Joker. Heath will always be my favorite when it comes to Jokers. Some really iconic quotes and scenes that I think about constantly. Only DC film that I have a poster of hanging up on my wall. The score as well by Hans Zimmer. It's just the definition of epic. I wrote epic in capital letters, but you can't see it. Epic. When I saw Birds of Prey in cinemas, I thought that was my favorite DC film, and it was for a while. When I rewatched The Dark Knight last year, it instantly became my favorite, and I thought it was the best DC film. Although I think 2021 had something to say about that.
At number 3 is Batman vs. Superman Ultimate Edition. A couple days ago, I was asked if I had any guilty pleasure movies, and I said, no, not really. However, there is this one movie that I don't consider to be a guilty pleasure because I do think it is a really good movie. However, my love for it, I really can't explain, and that movie is Batman vs. Superman. I can defend this movie in a general sense, and quite simply, some of the flaws that people levy at this movie don't bother me, such as Lex Zuckerberg. I love Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor. Batman killing, I wish he didn't, but I understand what Snyder was going for. Stuff like that I can defend or at least give my perspective. However, this ridiculous love that I have for this movie, I have seen this movie close to 10 times. It's ridiculous how much I love this movie, and that part of my love for this film, yeah, I can't really explain that. At least I can't intelligently explain it. All I can say is that the action is awesome. The writing is so melodramatic. I love it. Do you bleed? Do you bleed? There are just so many little moments that live rent-free in my head, and you combine that with the actually really compelling plot and also some of the themes and theological debates in this movie. It all comes together to be a perfect package of a movie that David loves way too much, and it comes in at number 3. However, some days and for a while, I did consider it to be my favorite DC movie. Like I said, I can't explain my love for this movie, but man, do I have love for this movie.
Coming in at number 2 for me is Zack Snyder's Justice League. This film is honestly a cinematic miracle. The theatrical cut of this film was awful. I mean, every character... Well, most characters were lame. You had weird filters going on with Superman, Flash, and Cyborg completely wasted, whereas in this film, they are arguably both the heart of this film and the reason why the heroes succeed in the end. It's 4 hours long, yes, but I was entertained through most of it. A couple of scenes where it's like, oh, okay, that lady's sniffing Aquaman's top. Cool. Didn't need to be there, but for the most part, this film was really entertaining. It just makes me feel happy, makes me feel proud to be a superhero fan, a DC fan, because all the characters are here, and I love them, and it's so cool, and even though they're not continuing the Snyderverse, I'm still hyped by the epilogue of this film with Jared Leto's Joker, who I actually don't mind. Good job, Twitter. You did something right. Another thing that Twitter kind of got right was trying to cancel James Gunn, because it led to my favorite DC film, which is The Suicide Squad 2021. All I can really say about this film is that it's a masterpiece. James Gunn had full creative control, and you really see that shine through into this film. There's so much heart and humor between these characters. Like, you know, he can handle this group dynamic from Guardians of the Galaxy, and he makes like these characters really fun to watch and easy to resonate with. And allowing this film to have an R rating allowed James Gunn to utilize gore and violence in some really great and gruesome ways, especially that opening scene on the beach, but I absolutely love it. I think it's hilarious and great. Ratcatcher 2 and Polka Dot Man are my favorite characters in this. There's just So much to love and so much to dissect in those characters. It's really admirable to watch a film like this because you're seeing a director have creative control, not trying to make this like a toned down, realistic superhero film. He just leans into the goofiness and like the absurdness of it being a comic book film, but he takes it seriously enough to where it becomes believable, becomes slightly grounded. You have a man wearing like a suit that's made of polka dots, but you really feel for him by the end, and it's such a great character. Like, he's done that really well. I could talk about this film ad nauseum because I absolutely love it. I think it's the best DC film, the best comic book movie ever. I think I put it in my top 5 of all time, which, okay, that was a bit of a bold move, but yeah, it's definitely a film that I love.
Coming in at number 2 is Batman Begins. Just like the first Iron Man movie, we take movies like this for granted nowadays. This movie defined the character of Batman in the 21st century, as well as defining the subgenre of the dark and gritty comic book movie. That is insane. But besides it being such an influential piece of comic book media, just as a Batman story and movie, it is fantastic and arguably the best Batman film of all. I would go as far to say that this is a better Batman movie than The Dark Knight, The Dark Knight still being the better overall movie, but just as a Batman movie, this might be the best one. From the best live-action Wayne death, to Bruce becoming the Batman mentally and physically, to the score and the countless other amazing things about this film. Once again, with all of the other comic book movies today, it's very easy to overlook this one, but it still holds up tremendously. Just by itself, it is a great and fun time, and it is also a defining benchmark of this genre. And coming in at number 1 is The Dark Knight. I have actually gone through many phases with this movie, and while it's not my gut reaction to the question, what is your favorite DC movie, the same way Endgame or Guardians would be my gut reaction to the question, what is your favorite MCU movie, there is no other movie I can put at number 1 except for this monster of a film. At one point, this was my favorite movie of all time, and then for a while, it wasn't even in my top 10 favorite comic book movies. I could never deny its greatness, but my gripe I had with this movie is, well, it's just a cop movie with some Batman skins. Is it really that great? And to that critique, I can see where I was coming from. But the way it balances the gripping crime drama storyline with exploring fundamental aspects of the character of Batman is brilliant and something only someone like Nolan can do. Also, this movie is just straight up a good time. It's one of those great movies that is a technical marvel, but also just fun. In my opinion, it is the total package of what a comic book movie can be, and once again, there is no movie I feel deserves the number 1 spot other than The Dark Knight. And there you have it. That is our top 5 favorite DC movies.
Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you to David for having me on your channel. It was really great to come on again. We've done a few collabs in the past, Iron Man stuff and Star Wars stuff, so definitely go and check that out if you want to. My channel link is hopefully in the description, so subscribe if you want to see more content from me. But with that said, I can't think of a smart DC reference to sign off on, so I'm just going to keep clicking until David cuts to the next clip. Please cut quickly, David. I can't keep smiling like this.
Josh, thank you once again for joining this video. I very much appreciate it, and I'm sure you guys are already subscribed to him, but I will link his channel down below just in case you are not, because if you are not, you are missing out on some really amazing movie content. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. May the Force be with you.